Scrum Diddly Dumptious, welcome to FNTASIA Plus. You already know what it is. Episode 16 already happened. The EU Heat preview already happened. And now it's time for NA. So let's dive into seeing what exactly is going on. But before you dive, you got to bounce on the board. And I'm going to bounce and say, yo, please subscribe to the channel. Please follow if you're listening on whatever platform you're on. And now I'm way high in the sky. Like the video at this point. Comment yeets if you made it this far in the video so far. And now let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Let's
go. Let's go.
I'm actually proud of you because you got a couple comments about the singing intro to never do that again. So
let's go. Interactions.
Let's go.
Love it. Yeah. All right. NA East. I need to pull Fortnite tracker up myself. See what's up. Let's cover all the heats in general. First off and foremost, I'm going to keep saying words to fill time so I can scroll down to archived events to find exactly where this stuff is. Never mind, it's right here, semifinals. Wow. Okay, here we are. Sickness.
Sometimes I actually dislike you. Like, Jesus Christ. This is the second time we pressed the record button, by the way, and he's still not ready.
We in the business. Okay, Heat 1, rolling into things, looking at a preview of exactly what things are going down. In this one, like when we're looking at the Heats, broadcast always has to decide exactly what Heat to watch. It didn't look too interesting because like it honestly just looks like there's no one here, like of high super value. Like this is the secondary line. Like there's a VIP line on the main line to the club, and then there's this line.
Like that's really harsh in my mind.
Really harsh,
I was seeing this Heat as more like just like second chances, third chances, fourth chances for a bunch of different people, because it like has some of those upstarts a lot of people were hype about, like Lupien, Beef, and Nick, and you know, just actually a general large amount of those people. Quad, Nico, Paper, they were there. Not Pentasto and Tuxie. I guess they didn't really. Oh, here's Pamsto, Carey, and Fatch. Shy, you were fucking hype about these guys throughout all of FNCS. I think this Heat has probably the most of those. There's Voil, Acceptance, Snake in there as well. So it's like for the NA East connoisseurs, this is the Heat that like there's some interesting shit going down in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't think this Heat has nobody's. Like, I feel like, you know, once again, it's a bit harsh. I think there are definitely players who had decent sort of qualifier runs, right? You know, the likes of, you know, Nick, Beef, Lupien, right? Those guys, you know, barely missed out on qualifying a couple times, right? You know, so, and I think there are a couple teams where you would have maybe even thought they'd qual potentially, right? Like with Creo's trio and maybe a few others. I think this Heat has potential to be really good in terms of like just the way the games play out. Obviously we'll like look at map distribution a bit later, but yeah, I actually am looking forward to seeing this Heat.
That's
results.
I'm not saying like the players themselves are complete trash meat. What I'm trying to say is that like they're not like, you know, there's no super brand names rolling into it, not super big stories from FNCS of old that are readily available for people to grab onto, right? There are like some one-off names, like we got Creo in this Heat, who's rolling in with XMB and Bully, which is always like really funny to see that these guys ended up as a trio for the season. But they're rolling in. I would even expect them, like, you know, usually we see Creo make it through quals and not have to play semis, right? Like historically through FNCS.
Oh, well, I mean, everybody had to play Heats, right? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Or are you just saying that he always does like decently in Heats, where it's not? It's not even a question.
Like super decently. It's not even that big of a question. But like now, like just looking at the Heat, it seems like he might have like that type of free pass rolling in, and there's not really too many super high level mans that can challenge. There's no question of, yo, there's an overflow in top 6 to kind of roll in. So yeah.
I think I might argue against that when we actually dive into it, but
okay. All right, I'll just go to Heat 2 real quick. See a little bit of what's going down over here.
This is the big one.
Yeah,
everybody's looking forward to this one.
This Heat reminds me of like a UFC title card. Like there's a bunch of like undercards rolling in, and then like the main event as well at Sweaty Sands. It's a really sick Heat. I feel like it's gonna be pretty easy to observe as well as to what's gonna be throwing down, and it's gonna be very good like sectioned off moments in the game to watch like certain types of events. So obviously the off spawn will be Sweaty between Bizzle and Gabe TAHI Sprite. And then there's going to be, you know, everything else, you know, where's Mega, Rokane, and Dubs? How are they doing and how they roll? Posick rolling in like on 7 different tracks when it comes to play VS, and when it comes to like FNCS. How's this man active? You have the Justice Dictate user story. There's so much in this heat.
Yeah, this one's a good one. I think that actually the way that it rolls through is because of how many teams are fighting off of spawn, like the big names, the one that you're like, yeah, these guys should make it no problem. The fact that there are so many of those fights in this heat make it so much more interesting for everybody else. Like there's Felix Sparebow and Pose in this. There's a couple ones that are just kind of skating by, like, oh yeah, have fun, guys, over there in Sweaty Sands. Like, have fun. I'm watching you guys keep fighting. Like, it's good. Like, I want you to win, Bissell. And on the side, Felix is like, go, Tahi, go.
Yeah. No, honestly, that is a big thing for a lot of those kind of teams in this heat, where you are gonna be licking your lips every time you see the feed start popping off and you're just seeing certain names. You're gonna be thinking, yes, this is my chance. Because as much as you like say, Shai, like, it is sort of the main event, right? It's sort of for all the wrong reasons. I would have at least thought, like, I would have at least thought by now you start to get some dips. Like, I know in EU for some of the heats, like some of the like big contestants during heats, like we've seen some of them start to dip now, the day before. And obviously, I guess some of their NAE kids as we're recording are still asleep, so maybe it'll happen later today. But like, I'm really hoping something changes. I don't think Sweaty Sands will change. I think both of those teams will just commit, because I think once you're at that stature, like once you're that big of like a team, you just can't leave, or like you just lose all respect. Like, you like going forward and next seasons and whatnot, like you will never get that respect again. So I don't think that will change. I think they will just fight each other at Sweaty, and the best man wins. But for some of the other contestants, like, I would like to hope some of them value making it to finals over, the sort of bragging rights. So
I mean, hey, welcome to NAE East, man. Usually that's not the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot more to talk about on this heat. We'll save it for a little bit later. I want to jump into Heat 3. Check them out real quick. This is apparently like the statistical best to watch. There's always this thing like when it comes to heats, where there's a superstars of the heat. The other one's also star-studded, but also like filled up in the middle as well with a bunch of trios that are rolling in. So when it comes to talking, discussing like broadcast-wise what heats to watch, the battle right now I think is between heats 2 and 3. And this one has a lot of people who are like, it's not like the middle of the pack, but the average skill level is pretty high.
Well, this heat, to me, when I was looking at it, paired with like the drop spot map that we have, I just thought it was the most ridiculous of things I've ever seen. Where I'm pretty sure more teams are contested than not in this heat at the moment in time, which just is ludicrous. Especially since, like you sort of named, some of them are really good statistically. It does seem like the most well-rounded heat in terms of who you'd expect to potentially do well, make it to finals. Like, I don't see a world where regardless of the whole NA ego thing, like, you can't have like 3 people contesting Holly or 3 people contesting Misty, whatever it is. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just can't. Like, something has to change. There's so much space and actual like potential loot paths available for so many teams that, like, hopefully it won't just be a mega grief fest, and we'll actually see a lot of these teams be really good over the course of 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think circumstances has actually made it like, if I ask you guys which one is the easiest heat and which one is the most difficult heat, like I genuinely don't think that we can get to an answer. I think if circumstances weren't how they were in this heat, where it wasn't so like crazy and confusing as to why 3 teams are landing Caddy and why 3 teams are landing Holly and why 2 teams are landing like everywhere else together, then I might say, yeah, this is probably the easiest. But I mean, all the other ones are pretty much like similar in my mind. Like, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who can have free rides in every heat, no matter what, and then the rest of it's like brutal, no matter what, as well. Can you guys pick? Can you pick a heat? I don't think I can pick a heat.
Can. We argued about it a bit. I feel like heat 1 is like pretty like the easiest out of all the heats. Personally speaking, I feel like there's a big skill disparity between some trios in heat number 1. When it comes to heat 2, I feel like that is the most difficult heat, and I feel like heat 3 is the most unpredictable heat.
For me, FNTASIA, we do it the best here, compared to everyone else. We really like to get technical. And so I'll give you the technical answer. I think it really depends on the team and the play style, right? You know, I think when you look at
What the
certain
fuck is
edge
this
map.
bullshit
No,
take?
listen, it's not bullshit, man.
What?
This is not
What?
bullshit. Listen.
All right, it's not part one. Let him get to the
Okay,
finale.
Yeah,
okay.
let me get to the finish line. Like, so if you look at like a Heat, like Heat 3, a lot of the contestants happening like somewhat central and like in southern areas of the map. Like, so if you're a North team, it's probably going to be a lot easier for you. You're not going to have like these really awkward rotations where it's really congested. You might get screwed by some psycho team that's struggling with surge. Like, if you're a North team, you're a team that lands craggy, a team that lands anywhere along that sort of side of the map. Heat 3 might be the sort of easier Heat for you, right? Whereas Heat 2 or Heat 1, bit more complicated there, right? Like, I think it does depend. I think each Heat has their sort of weaknesses and differences due to those circumstances you're referring to, right? Like
Yeah.
where you have one Heat where it's just silly.
Yeah.
You have other Heats where the good teams might be the ones who are just like griefing each other. Like, I think it is circumstantial, but that is testament to the fact that it's so evenly spread in different ways that I still don't think you can pick one like definitively.
Yeah.
So
I think the obvious answer is Shiles, but that what you're saying right there is exactly what I was alluding to, where I think circumstances make things a lot. And we'll dive into that. I do have one more, like, I think overall narrative. I think each of these Heats has like a different, very, very obvious like thing. In Heat 1, it's like the new guys who everybody's been trying to get them to do well. I mean, we're talking about like, well, actually every Heat has like a sprinkle of everything. But Heat 1 is definitely the one where it's like the new guys / mixed with some of the olds who haven't really made the breakthroughs, right? In NA, we've been talking about all this turmoil and whatnot, how the old legends and are struggling because of their ego and whatnot. Heat 2 is very obviously that, like very obviously that. Gabe, TAHI, Sprite against Bizzle and crew, and then also Posick, Perrer, and Yamzo against Illis, Blake, and Furious, right? And then Heat 3 is literally turmoil in its finest. Like, everything is going wrong in that Heat. So it's cool that there's like these three distinct aspects of it.
Yeah. Let's look at like the up and comers first. So let's dive in and check out the aspects. And that'll come through as well in Heat 3 with aspect. But in Heat 1, let's check out exactly what's going down with the drops, what's going down with a few stories. We'll roll into it in just a sec. I'm gonna pull up the Heat map real quick myself. Shout out once again to FN_Maxime on Twitter for getting all these written up. The man has double watermark, so there's no way you can avoid his name.
Yeah, you can't fuck this up. FN Maxime.
Yes, sir.
Accidentally.
Unless we're pronouncing it wrong.
We could be.
What if it's Maxime?
No, it's Maxime, bro. French. It's the French.
All right.
Sorry, I opened the wrong heat map. Yeet. All right. Boom.
All right, we're all on the same page. This is the young D roller. Yeah. Okay. Sick. Let me get a first gander here real quick. It seems like a pretty civil Heat. It seems like it's
all things considered.
Well evenly spread. Yeah, there's not anything crazy going on. The spots you would expect to be contested are -1 on the map, which is Lazy Lake. But at the same time, due to reputation, maybe that's facts.
Yeah,
it should be uncontested. But we got the sweaty fight. We have a pleasant fight, dirty and steamy. It's looking good. And Levin's talking about Heat 3 might be free for some north side teams. This looks like Struggle City Central for a lot of north side teams on the map. This is free base for south side.
I think this is like the most cerebral you're gonna have to get because of how well spread it is in NA East. Like, it is very well spread. I mean, you can't really say one side is. I don't think you could say that one side is like more congested than the other or anything like that. And one corner of the map is more congested than the other. Literally, there is a fight happening. There's a lot of uncontested down on the south, but there's still a lot of teams who have passed down there, right? Whereas there's a little bit more contested on the north side, which makes things kind of either they can go really congested and you have to really work for your rotates and your paths, but your surge is going to be easy, but just like not getting griefed is going to be hard, or it's going to be really open because a lot of teams are already dead, and there's going to be really shambles for some and not shambles for others. So, yeah.
I think another big thing is that I feel like this is the only Heat I've seen so far after looking at all the EU Heat maps and looking at some things from NA West as well, where there's a clear like middle part, like the middle scavenger loot path type beats of the map, the old what's it called, the hunters little hidey hole hideout, whatever it's called now. Like there's no one there. There's no one on the split either. Your gas station, no one kind of south on the houses. And there's not that much, you know, contention from retail or lazy, so it's gonna stay open for a hot minute.
Yeah, when I look at this map, like I was really looking at towards the north, and like I know I always sort of joke about how I just don't get, you know, contention like Coral Castle. Like to this day, I just don't never get it. Like I don't know why you're contesting Coral, especially when those scavenger routes that you're talking about, Shio, are available. But to each their own, I guess. It's funny because as well, I look at a lot of those teams north, and I don't necessarily see them as like big players. Like at first, like you know, Nexi, Crumble, and Mars caught my eye. They were contested a lot during the qualifier weeks, and it meant that they had awful performances, right? Like I'm talking dead last performances. In the 1 week where I believe they weren't, still wasn't amazing. And so maybe it's like maybe this actually is a good thing for them where they have so many teams sort of contesting around them. If they can sort of get out stealthy quickly, they have the option to maybe look to third party, get Surge on Coral. Option of look to third party, get Surge on Pleasant. Look to third party, get Surge on Craggy, right? Whichever one it is. And so maybe that's a good thing for them. For the other teams in those areas who are actually contested, like I don't necessarily know the history on them, like in terms of if they fought there before. So that's a bit hard to comment on. But yeah, that was the first sort of thing that caught my eye about this heat. In terms of the scavenger routes that are available, um, they're really strong. They're really strong. I think this season, I think people in other regions have showed how strong they can be. And so if that's just like a lack of evolution for some of these teams where it's like they aren't looking beyond, hey, we you know, we need a POI, let's fight for a POI. And no, there's loot here, there's routes here we can take, and routes that even could help us with Surge, if done well. It seems like there's a bit of a lack of an evolution there with some of these teams. And it makes sense for sort of up and coming players, right? They're not necessarily as experienced or well versed in terms of how you can get through these sort of sessions. So
Yeah. I thought you were gonna add a little
I'm
more.
waiting to
Yeah.
be led on a I'm waiting to be fucking put on a hook and led somewhere.
I got you.
In a
I got
magical
you.
land of Heat 1.
Let's. I want to look at two teams that are contest, or I would look at the strong teams of this heat, right? Like rolling in the people that we can not just lock top six, but if they get a little bit out of like the tar, out of the mud, they can really start rolling at two of the biggest contested spots. So I'm looking at ETB Vexing Nanolite fighting Spegu, Charlie, and Goku. Big potential there for either team to just kind of take over. We have Steamy Stacks, Snake will accept. If these guys get out of their drop spot as well, it could be huge in terms of just taking control of the map. And then Twexy, Panda, and Stowe are also going to lock into Sweaty Sands. There's just basically a lot of these trios chained, and they have to basically go through trials, and then they can kind of be allowed to control the game. Obviously, there's like the big trios who are kind of let free right now, you know, in Lazy and Retail, and in Holly, but I want to focus on the contested ones. How are their stories basically going to be looking going forward, like when they have to fight off spawn every single time?
I think like so basically we're Snake Voil and Accept against Static Pieces and Carp. I know nothing about Static Pieces and Carp, so my assumption is that Snake Voil and Accept should be able to catapult themselves from a good Steamy. But that's obviously not a guarantee, and no matter who it is contesting you, unless they're big skill diff, it's always still going to be a struggle. I think that Snake Voil and Accept can still make it through, but my expectation with them is you know, tail ends, like barely qualifying type beat, rather than where they should be if they were uncontested at Steamy, which is like an easy lock, like top 2, top 3 situation for them.
I guess my follow-up question after that then, in terms of like, it's kind of a similar answer in terms of Nano Vex ETB. What is Nanolite's situation? Like the last time I truly tuned in with Nano, I think it was kind of like the end of DreamHack Anaheim. Dude was kind of on top of the world. I know it's been a hot minute, and like we used to talk a lot. I used to be tuning in with the trios as well. There was like the whole thing, you know, Nano Sizz, and you know, a bunch of trio hops here and there. But clearly playing with a very different trio than like, you know, since last that we saw him, and I feel like last FNCS also felt kind of short. I'm gonna try to search up and see exactly how that story went. Like, is this kind of redemption arc for Nanolites?
Nah. It's been I felt like he's been really weak this season. I mean, the only thing I remember from this season is I think he did make grands in week 1, and there was the question about like his push onto Beef, Lupien and Nick, who are playing Retail Row this time around, and it was just like it was bad. It wasn't very calculated. They were struggling. I don't think they got high on the leaderboard at all. It was like a very, very low placed team making a bad play, and they haven't been pleasant at all pretty much this entire season. So it's just like a random let's go pleasant type situation. I think both of these teams here crumble completely. Goku, Spegu, and Charlie, ETB, Vexi, and Nanolite. Like I honestly can't even rank them in terms of who will win the off spawn fight. I think it'll go like complete shambles, split 3-3 type situation if they fight every time, which they probably won't. So you say 2-2 or something like that, but even that's awful. Neither of these teams have major. I'd actually say Goku, Spegu, and Charlie have bigger pop-off potential than ETB, Vexi, and Nanolite, but it's not even that high, you know? If it is a pop-off, it's like 8 kills. Okay, nice.
Yeah. Like these guys were like a newer form trader this season, right? And there hasn't been any sort of spark or any sort of sign to suggest that, you know, there is going to be that sort of skill diff and they can roll through off spawn here at Pleasant. And, you know, we've seen what happens with teams being contested at Pleasant, especially when like the sort of skill level is very similar in that sense. And you're gonna struggle to make it through. At best, you're gonna be trying to make it into a reboot round, and even then, if I ever more so like with ETB and none of that, if they get through to reboot round, I haven't seen anything that would suggest that they're gonna be able to win a one-off game against some of the other contenders who could potentially be there. So I'm not too optimistic about them at all.
They're gonna be also whoever makes it out of there. I just pulled up the grand finals draw slot map. They're going to be up against Aspect, Kazu, Fishy, right?
Yep.
Rolling into things just gets even harder, even more difficult.
Yeah, I don't even think they bother. Like, they've had the opportunity to bother with it in round 4. So it's like they've already shown that they probably won't go there.
On the topic of that, of like, you know, people rolling through and qualifying, like, you know, free pass or not, Creole, Bully, XNB at Lazy Lake seems like this is a sure for a qual for them. But also feels like it's kind of a trap because where do they go in the finals after they qual from here?
I think they can find their way. Career Bully and XMB have always, in my mind, like found a place to go. I think Creo has been actually one of the people who has been the most adaptable in grand finals drop spots. The only thing is that because of that, he's kind of weakened in grand finals. So yeah, it's still a concern, but I think they'll find a way somewhere. It's not like they're gonna go Lazy Lake against Stretch, Saf, and Avery, but I think this is a lock from Lazy Lake. Where they go in grand finals, I don't think I'm too concerned about it right now. I think there's some space right now. Like, I think it also depends what happens at Steamy, right? Because that's kind of their original home, and then they almost qualified out of Craggy. But they were struggling so hard against Sway's team that was really bad.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. The what?
They didn't look good against Sway. Oh, I almost forgot about that. But yeah, they didn't look good against Sway whatsoever.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss with them because that's kind of what I'm thinking of for like these shore forwards. Like another lock when it comes to like is it a lock? Is Loopy and Beef and Nick?
I think so.
Uncontested, not Pleasant, uncontested retail.
Yeah, I think that's a lock.
That's a lock, and then they're basically contested past that. Against Crunchy when it comes to grand finals.
Oh, so, Crunchy, yeah, Slam Naro and Crunchy, huh?
They're rolling into retail, so
that fight has happened.
Yes,
and it was fine for both of them.
It went a little bit back. And
no.
forth,
No. Slam Naro and Crunchy qualified from Slurpee, so that fight has never happened.
Yeah. They called from Serbia.
I was thinking that yeah. So Slam, Narwhal, and Crunchy went Slurpee. Loopy and Beef Nick had retail still in week 3. I can't imagine if Loopy and Beef and Nick qual out of retail and they've gone there or they make it out of Heats, which I think we're considering a lock. It should be a lock. I think there's still doubts, but yeah, in my mind they should end top 3 in this. No doubt if they have uncontested retail like this. So my point is, looking forward to grand finals. I think that they still are probably going to be okay at retail row. I don't think Slam, Narwhal, and Crunchy is a actual big threat for them.
I feel like threat or not, they might have a little bit of ego coming through first before these guys, and then not leave retail. So then there's tension, or there's at least friction in retail row. But like a similar story, like on the other side of the map, Paper Nico Qua, I think it's like Rise, Jamper, and Threats that they're going to be up against. And I feel like this is also another team when it comes to Heats, you can lock ?
Paper Nico and
I
Qua?
guess. Yeah, I rolled into that very unconfident, so it kind of shows you where my head's like that. But
yeah, I'm unconfident as well. But that spot is pretty decent right now. I got a little nerfed at the beginning of the season, but it also like was kind of buffed.
It's also very dependent on who's around you and how they're kind of operating, and they have so much choice.
Yeah,
like in terms of where they can get tags and how their entire game plays. Like they actually have, they're the people in the driver's seat from the left side of the map. So it's like
they'll probably literally be in the driver's seat, right? Because they get vehicles and they can rotate anywhere really, really quickly out of Holly. So
yeah, I think a lot depends on the Sweaty Sand fight, how that goes for them, but they should be able to bully Jeff, Rehan, and Logic without problems.
They can even look at Boney at some points, or like, you know, the center side of the map is just so empty that they could just.
It's a little slower this season than it has been in seasons past, though. Like the Holly W key, just because in past seasons, in Stark season there was the Rift, right? I don't know what there was last season, but
I don't know. Getting like the chonkers on a car, like these guys end up in some crazy places.
That's true. I forgot about the chonkers, and there is big opportunity for that. So yeah.
They're big chilling. Other than that, in Heat 1, I think it's just a lot of questions about like how things looks for Grand for all the good teams.
Sorry, what is expectations for Paper Nico and Qua? I mean, you're like unconfidently saying like lock, but not really. So what is it? What is it? It's like, is it 5th, 7th? Like what is the range for them?
Like 8th, 5th.
8th down to 5th, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's 8th, 5th for Paper Nico Qua.
But it's not like a winning possibility. I don't think there's any
possibility.
Okay.
Just because there's too many more powerful trios at other spots, i.e. Lazy Lake, i.e. Retail Row, and i.e. Misty Meadows. I was about to say Misty Park for some reason. And to talk about the hype for Misty Meadows, Fatch Pencil Carry. Their grand finals looks pretty free, right? They're not going to be contested Misty.
There's like Scented Edgy Commandment, like slight doubts, but not really doubts. And then there are other teams that are gonna qual from Heats from Misty, if I'm not mistaken.
True.
We'll see in a couple moments. I'm pretty sure Sparebo's team is the only like uncon Misty.
Because that's been kind of the place where they've tripped up the most, is just off contest or off just having a drop split in half. They don't get to be on full power.
Really? Even that, if that's true, then these guys are insane.
Yeah, dude, when they have like the ability to just play a full game out, like uninterrupted off spawn, it's sick. But they just have so many issues. And there's even 1 or 2 people that roll in, and you can just check the Twitter feeds to see it. It's like every time I see a drop spot map with these guys and they're contested, it's just complaints, loss, inconsistency on the boards. I wasn't gonna expect them to be, you know, top 3 coming in from one of the qual weeks, but I was expecting the higher placements on average at least, and not that much struggles, even through like round 3 and stuff. So that's my looks on this trio specifically.
Yeah, I think for these guys, they're part of like the 3 that does seem like really. I feel like it's easy to call, right? Where, you know, from everything we've seen from them, they should be really comfortable coming out of Misty in this heat. And the questions that come like after that with grand finals in terms of teams that may qual, like that's for the finals preview, guys. We'll save it for that.
I don't think we're gonna
but
do a finals preview. I think it was just literally that episode. So.
well, that will be part of that episode, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like, I'm saying like within this heat, I don't see any issues for them at all, like at all.
So expectations, like, what is it?
I'm saying top
A
6,
range.
like fourth, third. Personally speaking,
I was gonna say top 6, yeah. So that means that's a qual, right? But
yeah,
yeah, I found it really difficult to do like the 1 to 4 thing. But if I had to, I'd probably say.
I mean,
see, like,
it doesn't have to
3
be like
teams
a range. You could do like, like a discrete thing where it's like, I think they could like here's their peak is second, but honestly, I expect them. It's either going to be like their middle of the pack or end of the pack or whatever. Like you could do whatever the hell you want. It's just your expectation.
Yeah, I'd expect them to be sort of middle of the pack of the people who do qual. So
yeah. So
that's what I'd expect.
Yeah.
Other sneaky names rolling in just to get like a little bit of I want to see what you guys think about these guys. They have like one-off names with like some people now added in who are up and comers. So I'm looking at Legend DN Summer and Specs over at Colossal Crops. Seems like we see Legend DN Summer in almost every heat, sometimes rolling into grand finals as well, coming through like a backdoor qual. There's also Strodels right beside them with TK and Zork.
Yeah, this is a
I'm not
dark
sure.
horse.
Yeah, I forget exactly where I'm thinking of TK's name. Was it Cash Cup that was rolling, or was it DreamHack? Console, yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's definitely a huge dark horse coming in. They have so much space on their side of the map in terms of drops. Like if something goes wrong with the Orchard team, they can go a little bit more south. If things are getting rough and dirty, they can look to maybe go a little bit closer to Steamy.
Yeah.
And then past that, the last name would be COD Genesis with Coop and Adams. And COD Genesis has kind of that similar story, I feel like, to Carry, Pamso, and Fatch, where sometimes it's like an off-spawn fight, and he's always on a new team, and it just goes bad. Or it's like a mid-game type interruption, and once again, he's always playing with a new trio, so it's a lot harder to get through with it, right?
Yeah.
But it looks like he's kind of free right now in terms of playing out this heat. Definitely scary out of Caddy Corner.
Yeah, I think that this team, I have not been impressed with Coop recently. As much as that pains me to say, but Caddy Corner gives them a big opportunity right now. Like, this is massive. Still, I hope that they don't struggle throughout the mid game and everything else, because if this is, true, then things could look good for them. I give them a high peak. I think they could qual, but I also think that they could bomb, like completely unexpectedly, because they're uncontested Caddy. Like, but I still think just because they're uncontested doesn't mean they're gonna execute on mid game all the way through. Like, well, they do have Weather Station too, so I literally see this as like a team that could get top 3, but also like bottom 25th.
This is what's gonna happen with this team, right? And I see it happen with COD Gen and Coop sometimes. Not sure about Adams too much, but I guarantee they're in top 3 for the first half of the games. And then they fall out.
Yeah,
like they're that team that wins but doesn't qual. That type beat.
For me, there's D-Roller, Vix, and AJ. I don't know why. I just like I'm not super excited about them. There's this Dirty Dogs. Is that brutal?
No,
yeah,
I
they're
don't
like
think,
a
I don't
god
think that's
team
true.
coming into this, right?
No, not really.
God teams coming through.
Did they make a round 4?
They made one round 4, I'm pretty sure, at the very early stages. No, actually, I don't think so. I think we had them like on our power rankings thing, and we just like didn't put them in the top 10 for good reason. I think like that's why I think about them. But like, because on paper they're good, but in terms of results, I don't think they've been there.
I'm just holding on to like really old D-Roller and Vix stocks, so like
the
hype for me will always be there. Like I've never sold, bro.
Okay.
They clearly
Did you really buy D-Roller stocks?
I bought D-Roller stocks.
Oh,
man.
come on, man.
Stocks.
He was one of the guys. Remember, bro, we were casting FNTASIA Solo Invitational, and I'm watching like one of the other casters cast with you, and I'm like, man, D-Roller, never heard of this guy. SF Roller, he's probably gonna disappear. I remember specifically a conversation because there were so many unknown guys. I'm just like, well, this is controller.
Yeah. True.
So I never
literally thought
bought.
his name was, yeah. I don't know. Once I saw him playing with like so many different trios and kind of like working up the ranks,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, dude's popping. And
I
in
was
those
excited
trios,
when it was Colazo and DeRoller.
yes, bro. That's kind of when I super bought in, like when we doubled up.
I
But
sold as soon as
you
like
sold,
I bought and then I
man.
sold like instantly. I was like, never mind. Like, dude, this is dipping way too fast for me.
Yeah. What were you saying about Dirty?
Divine Ace and Sid versus Imtex, Cloud, and Ty. Okay. He, I don't think this is a good like. I to be honest, Divine Ace and Sid are nasty off spawn. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's stupid to contest them. But my second point is like, Divine Ace and Sid are also like they got that ego, bro, and they will contest Dirty in a grand finals type situation. Like, so reverse 2K Day and Miro.
I'm not even worried about that at all.
You're not.
No, because if you look at like any team that steps up, even if it's like, you know, the super sugar heads coming in, I'm trying to lessen I'm trying to lessen the drug references. All right,
Okay,
I'm trying to fix
good,
myself.
good.
So the sugar heads rolling in. All right, if these guys are
What
going
the
in, you know, what the heck?
Relax.
My, like when I see Damiro in reverse fight, dude, it's so fast. Like a majority of the time, it's just so fast that at them just picking apart a trio, no matter who it is.
Were you watching opens or something?
I think I watched like two different either it was cups or something where it was just fast.
Okay.
I have like some Prodigy Analytics like stats in my head as well. Some like 7 CTAs about their fight off spawn fight speed.
Yep.
So like that's where my head's at. I'm not worried.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is a possibility. So pay attention. Like especially if you're a Reverse 2K Day and Miro fan, pay attention for Divine Ace and Sid. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
I'm not saying it's a lock or anything like that because this is a bad situation for them, but just pay attention. That's all.
If this is a bad situation, what do you think it will be in actual finals against Reverse Miranda?
Oh, even worse situation.
So do they have anything to worry about then?
Who, Reverse 2K Day and Miro?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused as to the question.
Because you're saying that, you know, you're saying that we should watch out for them, even though this is a bad situation for them.
No, I'm just saying there's a chance that they're there in grand finals. There's a chance. And if that chance is a reality, get nervous.
Yeah, because off spawn is always like, you know, issues.
Yeah, it can go either way.
Yeah. Last things to say about the Heat. I'm not sure if, you know, we looking at a team uncontested Slurpee Swamp, sometimes there's questions for lock. I know nothing about these guys except for maybe seeing Predator's name here and there. Any thoughts on locks there, or is this still kind of, you know, okay, a new up and coming team?
No.
All right, sick.
No, I don't know about locks. I think the only team that like I recall watching and being somewhat impressed in some week, this is gonna go against all my morals because they're on the map. They're what, very bottom. They're at the flipping worst spot on the map. Or maybe not worst
Oliver OG.
Yeah, in week one I remember watching. In week one I remember watching Oliver OG, and I think they had they have the potential to have like 2 or 3 good games, and that's sometimes all you need in a Heat, right? So am I saying a lock or anything? No. You know, maybe they'll, you know, make it to reboot round or something like that. But I do think, you know, on their day they can actually sort of, they've shown, right? They did really well in qualifier 1. And so maybe these guys have a chance of maybe pushing at that point, but I wouldn't necessarily predict them to get top 6.
For some reason, and like players think this as well, Oliver OG just finds a way. He just finds a way to make it like higher and higher every time. Like from it could be from, you know, Camp Cod, the worst spots. Somehow you can count on Oliver OG. And so some people have him as like I'm not gonna name names, so there's no leaks, but some people have them as like the low bar, as like you can't be lower than Oliver OG when it comes to like placing in some places. Like that's the type of talk I'm hearing from behind the scenes. But like he disproves these disrespectful theories. So I'm actually excited to see exactly what he does.
I'm just wondering why his name is OG. I don't know.
He's the OG Oliver, bro.
There was a guy in EU called Oliver GC way back in the day. He was a real OG.
Didn't have OG in his name, so I actually don't know about that, bro.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the credentials.
True.
Let's check out Heat 2 though. That's sick for Heat 1. It's a lot of lot of courageous storylines, a lot of belief and faith you gotta put in that Heat. But for Heat 2, now let's go more in depth on this UFC theory, okay? There's this thing in the UFC where even if the title card, what's it called? Like the main match?
Main event?
The title card, no.
The title card, yeah. Even if like
This
the
is
main
shocking.
card match, I don't know the terminologies. Like if the main match we're watching, like the McGregor versus Khabib, right? Like that
The
match.
main event. It's the
The
main
main
event.
event. Okay, sick.
Yeah.
That match is sometimes the most boring to watch. You know what I'm saying? That match is sometimes the most like
Yo,
what's it
that's
called?
facts.
Underwhelming.
This fight is boring as hell. Yeah, that's
Like,
facts.
Yeah. And I think the undercard is something we should be paying a lot more attention to. That's where you see the sickest knockouts. That's where you see actual improvement of the game and some cool shit. And I feel like that's how this Heat will turn out.
Oh,
Yeah, because you just the attraction to this is just the magnitude of the names involved. That's really it. They're both trios who, you know, in a vacuum, you expect to be, you know, really good trios. And so, in a position like this, where you know that just as a result of them contesting, one of them or even both of them could just bottom out, it creates interest. But I definitely agree in that it won't actually be that interesting to watch.
Yeah. Just be like 2 rounds. And it's like, you know, some random punch gets one person down, or like it'll just be 6 games of
Hey,
like
look, CLIX got the shooters, bro. So you know, if
What
we
does that
see any
mean?
funny, if we see any funny crashes, you know, if you see TAHI crashing in one of the games or something, you know,
You
CLIX
see,
he
got the
already got
that-
all
shooters.
his
that's
bad luck
outdated,
out there
bro.
too.
I think it's CLIX might have shooters, but the shooters are also on CLIX right now. You know what I'm saying? Like this man was trying to roll through Pleasant Park, got sucked underwater. There's stuff going down. You know what I'm saying? So you never know.
It's Donnie's revenge, bro. That's what he was looking for.
I was waiting to
He was
see-
looking for the
waiting to
fucking
drop.
treasure, bro. But that shit is cursed.
There's 3 teams at Sweaty Sands. It's CLIX, Buga Bizzle, Gabe Tahi Sprite, Donald Mustard, and the Drummers as well. 3-way fight. You never know
All right.
who will go where.
Yo, no matter how I feel about the fight, I still want to talk about it. Who is taking it, and who has the better chances of actually qualifying for grands?
Gabe TAHI Sprite.
Oh,
Gabe Tahi Sprite.
oh, yep. Okay, wow. Okay, damn. No, like arguments
I
here.
think, honestly, I feel like when you actually watch it play out, and I feel like if you just watch both, I feel like it isn't much of a question. I think it only becomes a question because of the expectations you might have of Booger Bizzle clips. Can't even say it. But I really don't. I only see a scenario in which, you know, Gabe TAHI Sprite do better coming out of it. Personally, I just don't see a world where Bizzle, Booger, and CLIX really do well.
Yep.
Did you know that Wolves meme that I made for Levin?
Yep.
I'm thinking of it again here, but like, so imagine you have Sweaty Sands and you have Booga CLIX Bizzle, right? And Gabe Tahi Sprite, and then the Wolves meme starts. And then it turns into Paradise Palms, and he got inspired there with this trio, and Booga with this trio. How does this happen to Booga? How is this still happening? Like literally a year later.
There's the agency issues.
But this is literally like the same drop spot. Like this is,
Oh,
this
true,
is, you know,
true,
Paradise
true.
Palms.
Yeah,
Like
it is Paradise Palms.
Or Moisty
Chapter 2
Palms.
version.
Yeah. like
Paradise Palms.
it's rough, man.
Dude, okay. I'll go a little spicier than you guys. I think Gabe Tahi Sprite will win 4 fights. 2 of them like super cleanly,
okay.
and I think that they have a chance to get top 3 in this heat.
Damn. My man says being a little more spicy, but you came in hot. That's I'm not expecting a top 3 finish from Gabe Tahi Sprite. I'm expecting a top 6. Maybe even 5th and 6th rolling in very like I think the coolest story will be like Gabe Tahi Sprite like surviving off spawn, but then just barely surviving on consistency through the final games to get in like right at the echelon. Because we've seen like why do you think it's going to change? Every qual week that these guys have fought, it's been like Gabe Tahi Sprite getting a middle but higher performance.
Higher intensity, bro. Higher intensity. This shit's gonna get crazy. Like they must.
Okay, but if that's the case, then like how do you where are your Where are your
Where my
stocks for
Booga-
Google CLIX Bizzle?
they've
these
been
guys
here
are.
over and over. This is I'm getting griefed again, Bizzle. It's like, oh, this is
No,
fucking
but
another
okay,
EU
but if it's
player.
getting
Like, what
more
do you do?
intense.
Nah. Gabe Tahi
It's
Sprite. This
semis,
is their
bro.
first big battle, bro. This is their first. Yeah, it's semis. You know what they did last time they played semifinals?
What they do? What they do?
7 out of 8 wins or some shit ridiculous, like something crazy. Hold on, let me pull up the video, the resub video that summarizes it again. Like they fucking popped off 6 out of 7.
Booga Bizzle CLIX, right?
Who? Huh?
Like popped off. We're talking about Gabe Tahi Sprite.
Yeah, Gabe Tahi Sprite. Like they dominated their heat. It was uncontested, of course, but like I'm just saying, man, it's some gorgeous shit.
I know, but like if you're saying, you know, these 2 games that Booga CLIX Bizzle make it off spawn as well, like aren't they also in this type of lobby dominators?
Nah.
You know, the classic you're looking at
Not
semis
as
grands.
clean.
CLIX is like CLIX is in the air, single tarping, Booga Bizzle rolling it on their second height. Like the classic thing we always see from this team.
Have you seen that at all this season after they survive off spawn?
No.
Okay. Have you seen it from Gabe Tahi Sprite?
Yeah.
What? But I haven't seen like an insane performance that's close to top 6 from Gabe Tahi Sprite.
No, because it's only happened 1 game. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like.
I'm just.
Well, if the question is who SANDS is it, the answer I think is TAHI SANDS, right? Like it's Gabe Tahi.
I think we were arguing about whether it's a possibility for them to actually like pop off after, because the consensus on the table is clear. Gabe, it's definitely Tahi SANDS.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Tahi SANDS. I feel like it's still kind of Bizzle Booga CLIX SANDS, and like they're trying to take over, and like this semis is going to be them taking over. Like that's the narrative, right? Like these guys are invading onto because Booga's more clouded, so that's how you have to.
Well, I think from the way the weeks played out, it's just become like a neutral ground.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Let's move on past the fight. Let's move on past the fight. Looking at some of the undercard matchups: Blake Illis Furious, Yamzo Paru Posick. Bro, there's gonna be some crazy ass like when it comes to aim, when it comes to like just fighting prowess. I think the highest profile in terms of skill set fight we have at Lazy Lake across all regions.
Oh, the fight at Lazy Lake? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm upset. Cause you guys really sold me on Blake Illis Furious, and I actually really like these guys. And so like, it's never gonna be like fights at Lazy are so they're just annoying. I hate watching fights at Lazy. Even like as a caster, when you watch it, it's just like
same.
It's so I just hate Lazy fights, and I'd hate to see like Blake Illis and Furious on sort of the end of just the cheese that comes with fighting at Lazy at times. But with the skill level being so high on both sides, it's definitely a possibility. It is so up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just Yamzo's nasty. Pryor's nasty. Posick is on a streak right now with his play via success, and it's all gonna end here.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that like it's good. Like Blake, Illis, and Furious are gonna just straight out win. I think they're probably stronger. I mean, Illis and Furious, like you can't really compete with that almost, but like it's not by much. And also, it's a Lazy Lake fight. Like this is Grief Central. It's not actually even like Grief Central where a team is gonna like keep them there or anything like that in zone or whatever. It's not like a shark fight or anything like or a Doom's Domain fight, but it's still just bad fighting conditions where that just naturally happens, like no matter what. So
yeah.
It's just bad.
And Lazy Lake fights, they can last so long. And you know what happens when one of these other teams around, and there are a lot of other teams around, can sort of potentially get involved with that and make things even more difficult. That's more likely to happen probably like in the later games.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
know,
say, if you're one of these teams, are you pushing into a fight with Blake, Illis Furious, and Yamza Power
yeah,
Postic? Yeah, fuck that
or
shit. That's like a quarantined off war zone, you know? Like
sentence, yeah.
everybody evacuate the area.
That is a true ISO. You know, we're fighting out here like everyone clear out.
If
you
you're
know
at the
what I mean?
river, bro, you might get Kamehameha like by accident, bro. Like don't even like.
X-ray shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also a fight that's very similar, like the counterpart, or not similar in terms of like the status of the fighters, but the counterpart to Yamzo, Parter, and Postic, Pandush, Gonzo, and Pledge. I feel like Yamzo's kind of been playing with Gonzo here and there. They're also kind of in a big fight over at Craggy Cliffs. It's against Jaden Shots, and then one of the players that needs to get better, and Nets. So it'll be interesting.
You wanna
I was like, wait, what are you saying right now? What other player needs to get better? Why are you firing shots? And then I looked at the names and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Nets, and then two players that need to get better. So there's that fight that's going on, and I feel like in this fight it's kind of similar as well. Where like in terms of skill sets, these teams are going to be kind of rolling in the same way against each other. I feel like it's going to be senseless W King, and it's going to be actually a fun fight to watch at Craggy.
Pandush. That's the name of one of the winning teams from this fight. Another name is Ganzo. Another name is Pledge.
Sick.
That's
I mean, yeah.
You have any reasoning here, or you just on the hype?
Well, one, I am on the hype. Two, I just don't know about, like, I'm not too sold on like Nets, Savage, and Jaden. I think like on recent times, I've only seen Savage like playing with like Mars. I don't even think I've seen him play like in the recent competition, like since quals, with like the sexual trio.
Yep.
So I don't know if there's anything there to suggest
what is
that.
with that, by the way?
Out
Out of like everything with the Mars clip, the weirdest thing for me is like how they're still playing FNCS with but he's playing cash cups with like different people. I'm like hella confused. Like that is the most weird part about it, because I feel like there's still like potential for good in FNCS, but hey, I guess whatever.
Man, once you get to like 600k arena points, your mind starts working a bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta. It's just hard to get on that wavelength. You know what I'm saying?
I think Pandush, Gonzo, and Pledge are better than Nets, Jaden Shots, and Savage. Like just better. However, I feel bad for Pandush, Gonzo, and Pledge because they're not going to qualify.
Really?
Yeah, they're conned at Craggy Cliffs. It's like one of the worst spots to get conned. I don't know. It's like awful, absolutely awful. And
yeah, these fights are so bad. So bad, especially when the Steamy House team gets involved. Like stealthy teams will get like, this is like the one spot where like people actually will just, regardless of who's there, people will just get involved. Like it could be Hen Janice and Chapix. Like if they're contested here at Craggy, there will be people that come in and like just try a third party and get involved. Like it's always really messy at Craggy off spawn.
Yeah, because it's the easiest thing. Like you just go up on top of a mountain and it's like, okay, free tags, hey. From both sides too. It's like they're in a ditch. It's like fighting at Coral. It's awful because you're just so exposed and there's nothing to stop anybody from really getting involved. So yeah, I just feel bad because I honestly thought that this was a breakout season for them, but it looking like it's not going to be.
They can defy things, man. Let's talk about the 1-2 games. If there is a game where they escape, when it comes to Gonzo, Pandush, these guys have like those high profile double-digit type beats when it comes to playing their wins.
Sure.
So there's a possibility. Past contestant, I want to check out.
Hold up, DJ's playing? What the fuck?
Can't be.
I didn't know SNG's is playing. My bad.
Yeah,
I want to look at this little West sword slash, like if structure it right there. Take your mouse from like N pen, and then slash down to Mega, and then the Eclipse. Yeah. These guys are like the guys in the stands, the hecklers, or like the coaches who are like, yeah, keep fighting, Sony Sands, keep fighting. Everyone keep being contested. We're eating free, we're eating big. It's a huge potential for these three teams, I feel like, to do really well. They're some of the strongest teams coming into this heat, all beside each other too. So they're going to be rotating to similar places when it comes to just looking at the map entirely. It's going to be fun, but in terms of lock-in, or do you guys see all three of these guys in top 6?
I can see 2 out of the 3.
Which one are you not looking at?
Boney.
Okay, Paulo.
Why are we always on the same fucking wavelength?
We are?
Actually, to be honest, I was gonna say the exact same thing, but then I like to Eclipse Zypher and Lazar P. Like,
that's my
no,
one
don't
of them.
think that's the problem. When you start to think about it too much, yeah, that's where you go wrong. Just stick with your guts, because I'm telling you, you are right, and I know you're right because I'm right.
And you're
I
both
have
wrong.
not seen. Wait a minute. You're not
both
on the same
wrong.
wavelength? Okay.
I'm on the polarized train, and I'm on Dubs Mega Rocane, whatever vehicle they're riding. I feel like Eclipse Zypher Lazar P flop hard.
oh, okay. I was
But
gonna
that's
say
my
that both
issue
of
with
those
Dubs
other
fucking
teams
working.
flop, and it's just Zuni's Empen and Polarized.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I can see a world where Eclipse Zypher and Lazar don't necessarily do well, but I think you put it there, Shia, without even trying. What vehicle are Dubs Mega and Rokin in? In fact, like, okay, no, you think they're going to do well, right? Or you think there's a chance they could do well? What vehicle are they riding? I've not seen anything to suggest that like they are by any means a lock.
They're riding an uncontested Boney Burbs, bro.
Yeah.
Even then, it's like that's not like.
That's pretty shit, right?
Like, there. If this is what I'm thinking, right? Hot take here. I feel like Zuni's have been polarized come first in the whole heat.
I can see that.
I feel like Dubs Mega Rocane end up coming like 4th or 3rd based off of high elimination mid game fights, translated into consistency in the end game. A high elimination, but like getting consistent mid game fights and winning, and then turning that into like 5th places, 4th places in the end game.
They
Sounds
have
kind
the
of
possibility
disgusting.
of bullying like Risky and Spire, and also like they have a lot of options.
Yeah,
like a lot
and
of good
the one
options.
option that can stop them is not going to be there ever, which is like the threat of a sweaty push, or
which doesn't
like,
happen unless they're fighting.
Exactly. So I just feel like they have this weird upsetting their own potential. Like they're gonna upset themselves and qualify. Like if that makes
I think
sense.
that's a crazy overperformance from them.
Yeah,
They just haven't had that type of performance this season or even recent seasons.
I just see them falling to bigger names every time they are fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not threatened by them this time. So.
Yeah, I'm still on the Zuni's and Pen polarized train though.
Okay. Few more teams to talk about real quick when it comes to just having
I have to leave in 20 minutes, so make sure to wrap it up.
Yep, Sparrow feel exposed.
Yeah.
We're looking at locks.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah. It's hard to say lock, but they are a team. When you look at the way things are shaping up, there's an opening for them to just sort of like waltz in and be a top 6 team.
Mm-hmm.
And even going forward, I think, you know, based on what we talked about with the last heat, if they're looking at finals and thinking, okay, we're just going to be up against Thatch or Spawn, and they're not necessarily world beaters off Spawn in particular, I think that could drive them and be like, you know, we actually have a shot to be a team that's just snuck through that maybe people didn't necessarily have as like a favor or anything. And just the way they play is you know, we've spoken about it a lot already. Like they can do very well in these set finals lobbies.
Yeah. Right next to them, very similar type of beat. Justice Dictate Users. Lock or no?
I think this is my pick, boys.
Sheesh.
Really?
It is my pick. I think there's a big opportunity, and bigger than Sparrow, Felix, and Pose, because I think they ride through consistency because of their positioning. But I think Justice Dictate and Users, like, I think this is my pick. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why. I just really feel good about this team. They've really impressed me throughout all the different weeks that they've been playing. They've gotten very close a lot of different times. Like now they have Uncon Caddy Corner. Like, and this is my pick.
True. Class Uncon type team. Cloud Subscript Class and Dirty Docs. Not sure exactly what happens when and if they do qualify. Not even sure if I want them locked, to be honest.
I lock these guys.
You locked Class Subscript Cloud?
Yeah, I lock these guys.
True.
It's Dirty Docs. It's so good. Like, it's insane. Like, I locked them for top 6. I think their ceiling is like a second place. This is a weird heat. Like, I genuinely think that it's gonna be people that people aren't like really, really hard predicting, to be honest.
Man, this is gonna be such a fun heat to watch. I'm just not sure if we're gonna be watching it on broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see.
This is a god heat. This is a god heat.
But let's move to Heat 3 to see why that's one is on contention to be watched as well this weekend. Let's check it out. When it comes to Heat 3, we've got
this is a shit
here.
show. This is a
man.
What is this? What is this?
I feel like I'm looking at a spreadsheet, bro. What the
like,
this is the embodiment of NA ego is killing my people. Like,
what is this, bro?
Really bad.
Oh my god.
It's not even these 2 spots. It's like, why is there a contest at Gammy Split? Just like,
the one heat.
Why are there 3 teams on the Weeping Woods area? Like, what is happening? 2 teams center map. There's nothing there.
Oh my god. Yeah, just I think we'll work on it on a reverse real quick. I want to lock in a few teams first here.
Okay.
We're looking at Craggy, Steamy, and Slurpee. I think it's pretty easy to see that these guys have been. I might be biased a little bit on Slurpee, but
oh yeah, you're hella biased. This is not a fucking
my
log.
apologies. My apologies.
I'm sorry,
Craggy
Gandhi.
and
I'm sorry, Poppy, but I'm sorry.
Craggy is Steamy. Those are locks. Rolling.
This is a lock. I am less convinced about this team. I am fucking locking this team in. Dude, I'm locking this team in.
Really?
The only thing I think that they'll struggle with is the fact that there ain't nobody to fucking fight. And I think that's a good thing for them. I think that's a great thing for them, bro. I think that's a great thing. They're gonna dive into some randoms box because they're desperate. They're gonna get their surge, and then it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. The thing is, they're not gonna get stuck in second and third zone. They're gonna be somewhere because there is nothing to do. So they're gonna go find something.
I think their match history is going to say 18 minutes, 19 minutes, 30 seconds, 18 minutes, 19 minutes, 30 seconds. I just see scenarios where they don't have surge going into like 5th zone. And I do agree with you in the fact that like in the earlier zones, they might actually do a bit better there because like there's just not going to be, someone to fight and potentially just throw your game to. But in those later scenarios, trying to get surge, they're just going to They're gonna overcommit. They're not gonna be composed. They shouldn't call. They shouldn't call. The thought of them calling is bothering me slightly.
For context, for anyone just listening and not watching, we're talking about Sway, DC, and Scrubs at Pleasant Park uncontested.
Yeah, man. It's funny. Yeah, fuck, man. Uncontested is like. Any other team, I'd be like, yes, baby.
Yeah.
This team, I'm like, but yo, talk about the sway effect though. Like, holy crap. Look at where Shark and Knight and Clarity are. They're over here.
Nobody wants it.
They're all the way at Caddy. And then the rest of the lobby, there's nobody, Coral. Like, this team's like, should I actually be here? See Scope and Tragics are shaking in their boots. Look at the distance between any team right now. They have so much space.
That is so good.
Oh my god. But yeah, let's jump into a little bit of, I guess, the layers on these spots. Starting with Caddy. Start from the bottom.
Literal layers, yeah.
Like not even like a hint of any of these guys looking at weather. Like I guess some of them will end up like last minute switching up or
100% one of these teams is gonna be landing.
But still, it'll be like a 3-way fight. We saw it like one day in EU, and it was like the most disgusting and heartbreaking fights we've seen, where it's like you're looking at people, caught between Hall A and Hall B, but like an earthquake happens and the entire house collapses. Like when it was like Analex versus Vato versus like another team rolling in from Weather Station.
Yeah.
It was just depressing, man. For at least one team, they're down bad. I feel like that team will be Night Shark Clarity. I don't know why. but I feel like these guys will be trapped in between choices
Nah,
and forced not to be able to make decisions.
I actually think Shark Knight and Clarity will be really strong here. I think,
Really.
yeah, and
I think they're the smart team coming in, but they're going to be surrounded by very dumb pushes and choices.
I think Sticks, Jays, and Knifers try to play very smart. I think Spudlight, Disrupt, and Looney won't. They're console players.
Bloody hell.
We love console, but
Yeah, well, I know Shire and I do, but I can't say the same for my brother above me.
I don't know. I'm just being realistic here. Like,
yeah, no. Jokes aside, kind of facts, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like even if Knife or Jason Six try to make smart choices, like just making a choice here is grief. Like just facts of there's 3 teams here.
I think Sticks, Jays, and Knifer leave. I don't think this is going to be how it is. If it is,
Real
then
question.
that's crazy.
Real question. Shark Knight Clarity, top 6, yes or no? Based on the situation.
Based on as it is now,
Yeah.
no. But I do agree. I would expect one of the 2 teams to leave. And if that happens, I see an opening for them to be elevated in the sense of if they only have to worry about one team and then they can like get their surge dealt with earlier and like, you know, they'll have peppers to really play like a sort of dynamic style in game. They could very well be a top 6, maybe like sort of like a middle of the path or like a back end, but
My
I think it'll
expectations is
be
8th to
difficult.
14th.
Damn, true. So we're looking at reboot type beats.
Yeah.
I just saw something on this page. I guess they're not assigned or something, but why is there a name on the top right?
Yeah, we don't have a. Oh, they're just like
okay.
they're doing a cray strat, just like
Cray strat.
nowhere near Slurpee. No. They just didn't know where they're
Oh,
dropping.
okay, makes sense.
It's
Okay,
funny,
next layers.
Shanya and Foden. So who knows? Maybe they'll go Craggy too, or fucking Caddy too.
Colossal Tabs G Ved, Tie Sky Animal AV, Mini Clover Muffin. We're looking at Holly Hedges. Statistically speaking, out of my dictionary, the worst spot on the map.
Wrong. But
Why is it contested by 3 people? This rat spot.
Because it's not the worst spot on the map, and you're just wrong, and you have some weird bias to Holly Hedges.
This
Do you know what I think, guys? Okay, so for everyone listening, this is what really happened. This is the story behind Shire's hatred for Holly. He landed there one day, just got absolutely rolled over and over again. So now he refuses to accept it as a drop spot.
Dude, it's
Holly
like
Hedges
4
is a good
houses.
spot. It's a good
ass.
spot. It's a good spot. Stop hating. What I will say though is this cannot work. Like it categorically cannot work with 3 teams contesting it. But that's just common sense. You didn't need me to tell you that. So who leaves?
No one.
I don't know much about Mini Clover or Muffin. Do you think they could leave?
No.
I don't think Colossal leaves. I don't think High Sky leaves.
Name is there. Kind of tells me that they don't give a crap.
Here's what I think happens, right? I think one of these teams go Coral.
Yeah, it's gonna be Colossal, Taji, and Ved.
Okay.
I think they've literally landed Coral before.
Yeah, they have.
I think one of these teams go Coral, and I think one of the teams from
Caddy.
Caddy end up somewhere near Slurpee. I don't know why. Or they end up just contesting something else. They're not gonna go to an uncontested spot. They end up contesting something else. Maybe they end up steamy houses. Maybe that's a safe spot. Maybe someone just ends up contesting dirty. I've seen Caddy teams get in trouble and then end up contesting dirty instead.
Oh yeah. I like that.
I think that's the narrative for those
This heat
spots.
sucks.
Someone's leaving.
Not gonna lie. I think this heat sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's based off of the drop spots more than anything. Yes. I'm still trying to wrap my head around where this is going to end up because I can't see where it ends up down the line, like when people make changes. But I will say there are a couple really cool teams that I'm keeping my eye out. Sway, DC, and Scrubs is one of them. Shan, Cold, and Crib. Like Sean. There it is, Sean. I can't pronounce X's in Fortnite tournament. Like I just can't.
Chickson, Cold, and Crip.
I have a huge bias because Crip is my guy. And I told them, you know, watch out for Heat 1. Those teams might have a stinker. FNCS is yours. And so I'll be rooting for these guys. You know, I do have a personal bias there. I just want to see them uncontested Sweaty. I think they'll do good. They're really
Dude, they're
experienced
good,
here at
man.
Sweaty.
They came
Yeah.
out the gate swinging too. Week 1, like
They were top 10, right? Or
they were
something
top
like
2 in the first game or something like that, and then they ended up top 10. I think they had a couple bad situations. No, it was week 2. But anyways, yeah, I think this team is really good. They can frag end game, which is very important, and it's uncontested Sweaty. They did have uncontested Sweaty during week 2, and they didn't make it top 6. Got top 6, I guess you could say. But still, I think the potential is there. This is like easier than a week, round 4 type situation. So
my bias is rolling in. I'm saying it then. If we're on the crypt bandwagon, I gotta be. Yeah. Scroll up. Zoom in harder. Nice. Azorvo Foppy Gandhi. Foppy season back in effect. Hashtag
zoom
Foppy
in the
wins.
fuck back out. Zoom in the fuck back out.
Listen,
this is a heat that OSP, Calc, and Judgy win.
Okay, and OSP Foppy Gandhi, top 3. You heard it here first.
All right, cool.
Okay, cool.
No, okay, but at least can I just say, at least my bias, like we've actually seen Crypt do like really well. Like those guys like look like they can.
Oh
like,
yeah, 100%.
Oh, wise man once told me, when faced with decisions, trust your gut. Look at what you see first and call it out.
He did hit you with that.
Enable him, Bala.
He did hit you with that. You did hit him with that earlier on.
So when I saw this map and I'm looking
right?
at the names and I'm looking at who's uncontested, my gut told me, believe in Foppy. That's what I'm gonna do. Cool. So I guess Heat 3 will be the ones of switch ups, who's going where. Heat 2 will be that. I hope we're watching Heat 2, man. And then Heat 1 is cool for.
If you're not watching it, anybody else can watch it. So we're chilling. Like, it's not the biggest. Oh, dude, all these happen at the same time. Like, is it that type of situation again? No.
I think
Heat 2 and Heat 3 overlap.
Yeah.
Oh, so session 1 wasn't even an option for you because you're watching EU at that time.
Yeah, there was yeah.
Okay, interesting. Oh wait, what is happening? Isn't there 2 days for heats?
No,
next
heats on Saturday, reboots on Sunday.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
so there's a lot of Fortnite to watch on Saturday. In terms of like,
okay.
Every region's heat is rolling within the 24 hours.
Oh hell, bro.
Well, Middle East is
and then every region
right
after
now.
The fact we have reboots the next day afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of overlap. I'm not sure what the viewing party boys are gonna be doing.
This is crazy.
It's gonna be messy.
Injecting caffeine into their veins.
Yeah, it's that EMAD type of 17-hour stream. But our episode was only about an hour and a half, so nice kind of segue. That was dope, guys. NAE East, FNTASIA Plus.
Speaking of injected, I'm gonna go get my vaccine. So wrap this shit up.
Yeah. Yo, if you made it this far in the video, hydrate and then type hydrate in the comments. I haven't sung, so make sure you like. And yo, shout out. End it. Just end it. Let's go.